Hi, it's Elysia. I'm so excited to share with you what's in this upcoming video. I had the opportunity to interview Dustin Owen of the Loan Officer Podcast, Waterstone Mortgage, and I'm so excited because we talked about understanding your sales DNA. This literally tells loan officers, you and branch managers, what you need to do, why you need to do it, and it even gives you the tips you need to get it done. Of course, we also talked about sales and networking. What's working today, what's not working today. And also prospecting. Prospect, prospect, prospect. You hear me say it all the time. We talked about prospecting online and prospecting offline. And last but not least, we also chat about, can you be an LO and have this be a side hustle? Or do you need to be all in? Let's get into it. Here we go. Hi, it's Elysia Stobie, your Mortgage Millions mentor, and I am so excited today because I have Dustin Owen with me. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background if you don't already know who he is. Like I said, I'm so excited and honored to have Dustin with me today. So Dustin's been in the mortgage industry since 2004. He started as a rookie loan officer. He currently co-operates a $1 billion retail production operation, which he co-founded with his two business partners in 2008. We'll come back and talk about recessions and when millionaires are built, because that's how it works. Dustin is the creator and host of the Loan Officer Podcast, the #1 podcast and mortgage for mortgage and real estate professionals along with their clients. Owen is a certified mortgage banker, which is his industry's top designation, which is only held by 1,000 active mortgage professionals. He's a 2022 graduate from the Mortgage Bankers Association Future Leaders Program as well. Dustin was born and raised in Central Florida. He is a graduate of the University of Central Florida, also attended college in England, where he studied economics, marketing, and popular culture. Dustin joined Waterstone Mortgage, a wholly owned subsidiary of Waterstone Bank, in August of 2008. And he married his high school sweetheart, Michelle, in 2002. And they're the proud parents of 2 awesome children. And in his spare time, you can see by looking at him, Dustin trains for triathlons, enjoys traveling, and cheering on his beloved UCF nights. Sorry, I should know because I'm USF. So
yeah.
So awesome, Dustin. Thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited, as you heard and saw.
Yeah, no, Elysia, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on with you. You and I had a great time before you click the record button, getting to know each other, thinking about ways how we can synergize. So I'm stoked about that. And I'm honored to be introduced to your audience and look forward to hopefully providing some value today.
Me too. Yes. So we were chatting about a lot of things before we hit the record button, which is always good. And I think you were starting to tell me the story of how you came up with sales DNA.
Yeah. So
this is a great resource for you guys and a great story.
Yeah. So understanding your sales DNA, it's actually a course that I teach when I travel the country doing half-day loan officer sales seminars. So our podcast is the Loan Officer Podcast. Most of our fans affectionately know us as TLOP. They call themselves T-Loppers, right? Just taking that super long name, narrowing it down to just the initials. And this year we started doing live loan officer events that we have originally called them TLOP Live. Now it's TLOP Presents Learn, Earn, and Grow, a mortgage sales symposium. So we've done Tampa, Florida, Orlando, Florida, later this month. So here we are in April of 2023. We're going to head down to West Palm. We're going to do a half-day loan officer sales seminar down there. And I was talking to you because you live in Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm going to be up in Jacksonville doing one of these events the 3rd week of May. So I share all that because we were preparing for creating the content for these events. And we would be myself and my faculty, right? People who also come to these events and speak. Usually there are other entrepreneurs, other very successful business people, top producers in the mortgage space. And we were talking about, well, what are we going to discuss, right? One person was very strategic. One person was very motivating. And then on my end, I was like, well, then I guess I need to take some tactics out. So I had that in the back of my mind.
Mhm.
But at the same time, as you mentioned when you were reading my bio, and thank you for getting through all that. That's a lot of words, by the way. You read that I have founded and I co-operate $1 billion production region. So when you run a company, as you know, and most of your audience knows, you have to do what's called business planning. So here I was, December of 2022. I'm in this executive board meeting, 4 hours long. And towards the end, I'm witness to a heated discussion between a sales executive and an operations executive. And the sales executive was like, we just need to get our loan officers doing X, Y, Z, and A, B, and C. And they just need to do this and they need to do that. And I can see the operations guy almost like wave his hands. He's like, whoa, 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 slow your horses. And by the way, this operations guy that I'm talking about, he got his start as a mortgage loan originator, right? So it's not like he doesn't empathize with LOs, but he waves his hands and goes, why are we asking loan officers to do things that's not natural to them, that they don't like doing, that they are not willing to do? And what he was trying to say, and he wasn't having the best success conveying his message, is, hey, sales executive, you are right. There are about 6 tactics or strategies that mortgage loan originators should be doing in order to expand their network, in order to grow their referral sources, in order to make sure people understand what it is they do and how they can help those in need. He said, but they don't need to do all 6 because all 6 isn't how they're made up. And then I had this like ding, ding, ding moment where I'm like, wait a minute, here we are in 2022. We're going into 2023. I know that on a sidebar, as away from co-running this $1 billion production region, that I'm going to be doing these live events, up to 16 of them this year. And we need to start creating content. And these guys are giving me that content without even knowing it. So I step in, I'm like, we're going into 2023. You're talking about how people are just made up. When I hear how am I made up, I think of DNA. 23andMe, sales DNA, right? 23andMe is the kind of like ancestry.com. It's where you can give your saliva sample and they'll let you know if your ancestors are from the Middle East, from Europe, from Australia, if your granddad's really your granddad, all of that, right? You get to figure that out. So I said to both of them, you're both right. You're both right. Mike, our loan officers do need to do all 6. And David, we're asinine to think that they should actually, each individual LO, do all 6. I said, how about if we help them discover what it is that they were predetermined based on how they are culturally raised or even what's in their DNA. Let's help them find the best 2 that they are good at, that they like doing, and let's not demand out of them, but strongly encourage them to triple down on their efforts. So the course is understanding your sales DNA. And what we basically did is we broke it down into 6 strategies that we encourage all mortgage loan originators. And quite honestly, I've had title reps, I've had homeowners insurance agents all sit in this course and they're like, wait a minute, this applies to me as well. We broke it down and said, what are 6 things a mortgage loan originator should be doing to expand their network, right? Because I come from the school of thought that the sum of your net worth equals your network, right? The larger your network is, the more money you'll make. The more money you make, the more money you save. The more money you make, the more money you can tithe. The more money you make, the more money you can donate to the less fortunate. So we do want to make money because we can change our own lives, our family's life, and we can change our community. But in order to do so, we need to expand our network. But if there's 6 things that we should be doing, we don't need to do all 6. So it's like, what are those 6 things? Well, smile and dial is as old as they come, but it works. So there's some people out there that smiling, dialing, that is a part of their sales DNA. For others, it may be online networking. Now, when you think online networking, I'm discussing things like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't like using the word social media because most people hate the media. And if you're a parent, you despise social media because you see how it's corrupted your children. And for some people, depending on what year they were born, they get scared of social media. So I quit calling it social media. I call it online networking. And if we have time, I'd be more than happy to kind of dive into that. And then the other four were open houses. They were lunch and learns. They were happy hours, or even doing the traditional networking, the BNI groups, the chambers of commerce, the Women's Council of Realtors, or it may even be the PTA of your children's school as a way to just traditionally network. So what we have done is created a course that is called Understanding Your Sales DNA, where we go through all 6 of the recommended strategies, and then we discuss why you should do it, but more importantly, how you should do it, where we give tips and tricks.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's definitely correct ways to network in person or online. And if you're not doing it correctly, I believe you actually can do more harm than good. So you go.
I would not disagree with that one bit.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about online networking in general, I mean, here's kind of some of my pet peeves. And I'm going to swipe and adapt this, and I cannot remember where I heard it recently, but I did hear it recently. And it could have been following Todd Duncan. It could have been following Carl White or the people at the core or Next Level or Growth Only. I mean, I have the utmost respect for everyone in our space that's doing what you're doing, Elysia, or doing what John and I do over at TLOP. And what it was this. There are many people who have made millions of dollars in the mortgage industry by working open houses, by cold calling, by getting belly to belly, face to face, by throwing events like lunch and learns and happy hours, by being a part of networking groups like Women's Council of Realtors or BNI or Chamber of Commerce. And they never once had a social media account. Not once. Now, in today's day and age, the modern loan officer, and I'm swiping adapting that from Justin and Amir over at Growth Only, the modern loan officer needs to be utilizing video. They need to be utilizing online networking tactics and strategies, but don't fool yourself. If you only did online and you didn't do one of those other 5 that I discussed, I have yet to meet a mortgage millionaire who solely has built their business off of referrals that are from whatever they did on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube. And yes, I know there's the outliers, and that's why we talk about them. But they're outliers, right?
Because the other piece is, if you're doing ads, then that doesn't count from that solely. That's a different stream.
Oh, yeah. If you're doing pay-per-click and you're doing ads, you might as well be buying Zillow leads or partnering with a realtor for their Boomtown account, right?
Yeah.
So I love online networking. Love it, right? But just like with Tinder, where you're swiping right and swiping left, eventually, if you want any action, you're going to have to take that relationship from online to offline. I view Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn the same exact way. I can use it to connect with people. I can use it so people can get to know me. I can use it so I can brand myself, but eventually I'm going to have to take that relationship from online and move it offline and get belly to belly, face to face, or at a minimum, one-on-one on a Zoom call. If I'm ever going to reap the type of rewards I'm looking for. And type of rewards I'm looking for are solid referrals to people who need my services, right? With like-minded business professionals who understand the value I bring them and their clients. So whatever it was I was listening to, and I'm thinking it was Ryan Hills, who's with RE Source TV out of the Pacific Northwest. I was listening to something that Ryan Hills did, and it was there that I'm like, yes, ding, ding, ding. You do not need social media to become a mortgage millionaire, but you can't become a mortgage millionaire only on social media. You're going to have to embrace a lot of this tried and true for the foreseeable future. That's another saying I love, and I probably stole it from Rick Ruby with the core. but it goes, if it's new, it's not true. And if it's true, it's not new. Right. And it's like,
yeah.
So much of this course that we teach is just that. It's walking LOs through, why would you do an open house? What type of person excels in working open houses? What's the true idea when you worked at open house? Like, you're not working an open house, guys and girls, to get a lead. That is not, if you get a lead, that's like going to a baseball game and catching the foul ball. You didn't go there to catch a foul ball. Sure, you brought your glove and you hope that one came your way, but you went there to enjoy a baseball game. You're going to the open house because you're trying to spend quality time with a certain realtor, or you're trying to expand your realtor network. If you happen to get a lead while you're there, that's catching the foul ball. But when we teach it, not everyone's going to feel comfortable working open house. It's not going to be their gig. But if you raise your hand and say, this is my deal, this is part of my sales DNA, then let us teach you some tips, tricks, and best practices to make sure that if you're going to do it, you might as well do it really well. You might as well do it to the best of your ability. And you might as well follow the patterns of success of everyone that's come before you.
And that's a really good point.
We teach those types of things. Go ahead.
It's a really good point, because I did a video yesterday on why should you actually go to a closing. And some LOs love to go to closings and some don't. So it's similar in theory in that. And then when they do go, they don't exactly know what they're supposed to do. Right. I mean, maybe you want to help if there's any issues or questions, with the CD or something like that. But there's so many other important pieces that if you actually do attend, you can shine like a rock star. And for other reasons, build relationship with the client for future referrals, build relationship with the buyer's agent, with the listing agent, with the title company, and it just, So it's interesting how a lot of LOs do stuff and they may like it or not like it, but then they also don't know why they're doing it and they don't know how to do it correctly.
No, I love that topic of going to open houses because I have friends from literally Spokane to Key West, everywhere in between, mortgage millionaires, right? These are guys and girls whose W-2 looks really weird because their W-2 has 2 commas and your W-2 has 1 comma. Okay. And I love getting their input on working open houses. But after, numerous of interviews or late nights sitting at a bar, sipping on an old fashioned talking shop, here's what I've learned firsthand as an originator, right? You mentioned I did get my start in this industry as a mortgage loan originator. I do know what it's like to do 12, 15, 20 units a month, build out a team. And I also know what it's like to starve and to go $10,000 in credit card debt, shut off my cable before there are such things as Netflix and Hulu. Drive around town with 4 sale signs in my car and defer my student loans because I was trying to survive my first 2 years in this industry. But when it comes to open houses, what I would tell someone is you should earn the right to never have to go and then be able to explain to someone why it's better for you not to be there. But until you earn that right, you should go to every closing because every closing gives you an opportunity to ask for referrals, ask for reviews, potentially meet the listing agent who you should have been charming and auditioning for all throughout the process, at which point the closing's your victory lap, the closing's your opportunity to nail that listing agent down for a one-on-one. So you can discuss ways that you can help that agent sell more homes, make more money, and look good while doing so. But when you go, do not get there super early and do not stay to the end. Get there 5 to 10 minutes early, say hi to everybody, make sure the closer, title agent, closing attorney, whatever state you're in, however y'all do it, make sure they do the CD first, make sure they do the funding docs first, make sure they send off for funding, and then make sure you have somewhere else to be, right? Make sure that you're at a point where you can tell them, hey, look, I wanted to stop by and say hi, say congratulations, remind them of the first payment letter, remind them to file for homestead exemption, remind them to call you anytime they get junk mail in the mail that confuses them. That's what you're here for. You're their lender for life. But a closing, in my experience, should never take more than 30 minutes of the loan officer's time. And I think you have to earn the right to not attend your closings. To me, earning the right means you're closing 100 plus transactions a year at which point you can find a way to explain to someone that the highest and best use of your time is back at the office, because back at the office is where you can actually put fires out if a fire were to arise. And back at the office is where you have access to all of their data, because you don't necessarily have access to their file or the data when you're sitting at a closing table. Those are just my thoughts. That was so cool because I was impromptu. And you just teed me up nicely. So thank you for that, Elysia.
Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me ask you. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, so in this economy, which I got to tell you, it makes people nervous. I love this economy because the doers do and the do nots don't. So this is, I thrive. Like, this totally juices me up. I will be sorry to see the loan officers who didn't survive leave. I mean, we already had between, depending on what numbers you look at, 17 to 22% didn't renew licenses last year. Some did switch to brokerage.
Good. Good. Yeah.
Stuff. But I want to do everything I can to help every loan officer right now who's all in be as successful as possible. And I get excited. I'm like, bring it. Let's see what happens next, right? Because, I mean, and maybe it's because we've both already been through this, right? I started in 2003. You started in 2004. We both opened branches in 2008, you and I both. So it's like, to me, there's never a better time than to right now to double down.
Yeah, so, no, it's, we're very fortunate over at the Loan Officer Podcast because we have 25, 30,000 awesome fans who listen on Spotify or listen on Apple, or they watch us on YouTube. 3,000 of them are coming to our website every single month for additional content. So anyone who tunes in already and listens, they've heard me preach, because as you can tell already, I can get all excited and get up on my pedestal and really start, preaching the gospel of mortgage. But they've heard me preach that this is the best time to grow your business. It literally is. I've been saying it since about September. Here we are almost 9 months later, and I'm still beating that drum and echoing. Is it easy? No, you don't want it to be easy. If it's easy, if it was you're not forced to get good.
Yeah, it actually wouldn't be exciting.
No, it's
challenging.
Bad habits and false pretenses come from when it's easy.
Agree.
Right. So you want it to be hard because it's going to force you to be good. It's also going to force the pretenders out. When it's easy, pretenders can hang around, earn a living, and feel more important than maybe what they've earned. Mm-hmm. Right. So yes, I'm with you. Love the market we're in for the growth opportunity. Now, my paycheck, no, that thing freaking sucks. Right. My paycheck hasn't been this bad since 2004. But that's short term. I wasn't complaining about my paycheck in 2020 or 2021.
Right.
And I knew that half of that paycheck came from the market. It didn't come from my efforts. It didn't come from my talent. So I'm taking the good with the bad. But this is a great opportunity where, like, my partners and I, we're in full on growth mode at the podcast. We're on full on growth mode, right? And I think people should be full on growth mode. And you mentioned the word all in. All in. Yes. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. This is not a side hustle, the mortgage industry.
Correct.
This is not a part-time job. Mm-hmm. This is a white-collar job that requires blue-collar work ethic. Okay? And you need to be all consumed with it because it's your career. So something I encourage our loan officers day in, day out, both on the podcast as well as internally. I'm like, what if your child's teacher kept your schedule? What if your child's school bus driver was as unpredictable as you are with their schedule? How do you feel when your dentist, works your schedule, right? The nurse at the hospital, or, it's like, look at these professions, a police officer, a firefighter. What if they worked your schedule? Would you be proud that that was your cop? Would you be okay with that being your kid's teacher? For many, the answer is yes. For some, it may be, I wish they worked my schedule, right? We'd get better police work. I'd have better medical care. My kid would get a better education. But for a lot of y'all who are tuned into this, it's something to make you say, because you probably wouldn't sit back and be as idle as you are. You'd be getting after it, because you should hold yourself to the same standard that you hold your child's school bus driver, your child's teacher, or the police officer that is hired and paid to protect and serve your community.
Yeah, agreed. So just to circle back, we're definitely on the same page about now is the time for growth. What would you suggest to loan officers and branch managers even as their top 3 priorities right now?
Your top 3 priorities is you need to be seen and heard. Period. In the story. You have to get out and network. I mean, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Like, your net worth is the sum of your network. Like, think about that. Whether they're leads to home buyers, whether they're leads to potential recruits, right? Leads to referral sources, you need to expand your network. So by doing that, you need to be seen and heard. How are you seen and heard? Well, that's where it depends on what's in your sales DNA, right? It may be that you say, for the next 40 weeks, I'm going to attend 120 open houses, roughly 3 to 5 per week if you want to take a couple of weeks off, 3 a week if you don't, right? 5 a week if you want to do it for 4 weeks, take a week off, do it for 4 weeks, take a week off. Right? You need to hit those open houses, because those open houses are going to introduce you to agents that you don't already know. And then from those open houses, you can follow up with the agent and get belly to belly and face to face in order to figure out how you can bring them value, figure out if you all click. And of the 120 that you meet, you'll maybe get 50 that are willing to get one-on-one with you. And of the 50 that are willing to get one-on-one with you, you may only find 15 that actually fit in your wheelhouse. But if those 15 are each good for 3 closings a year, that's 45 additional units at an average loan size of somewhere around 300, is about $15 million in volume. Even if your comp was 100 basis points, which I think the average is like 110, 115, but let's say it was 100, that's $150,000 of income that you earned by basically being willing to work for 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday or a Sunday, hitting 3 or 4 open houses for just 40 weeks. And here's what I love about our industry, Elysia. This is not like selling somebody life insurance where you have to sell it and sell it again, or selling them fine clothing where it's a consistent sales cycle. Like, one, we're not selling anything besides ourselves and our services. And we're selling ourselves to referral sources. So you hit open houses really hard for the next 40 weeks, and you meet those 120 agents, and those 120 agents end up converting into 50 one-on-ones. And those 50 one-on-ones, you find 15 long-term referral sources. That's not only 100 grand over the next 12 months, it's 150 grand in the next 12 months. It's 150 grand the following 12, 150 the following 12, just by being dedicated and intentional for a whopping 40 weeks, which if you look at that as days, it's about 60 days, right? Some weekends you're spending 2 hours on Saturday and 2 hours on Sunday. Some weekends it's just 3 hours on a Saturday. But essentially 60 days of part-time work in order to bring in an incremental $150,000 in revenue, because you generated enough leads from those 15 referral sources to close those incremental 45. So getting back to your original question, you need to be seen, you need to be heard. Open houses, happy hours, start throwing happy hours, right? Lunch and learn, start teaching lunch and learns. Social media, start becoming intentional with connecting with people, with liking and commenting, right? Being a part of the various groups in your local market for realtors or home builders or mortgage loan originators. Send friend requests, right? You want more people to talk to? Awesome. Here's a strategy. Over the next 12 days, I want you to increase your LinkedIn connections by 20%, your Instagram followers by 20%, and your Facebook friends by 20%. Right? The more people you know, the more people you interact with, the more likelihood you're going to have of generating leads, and those leads will end up becoming closings. Right? So I think it's just being intentional, picking 2 of these things and just doing them. the last thing I would say about this particular topic, it may just be you have enough people in your database. You have enough past clients. You have enough referral sources. You have a large enough circle of influence. But what are you doing to stay in front of them? Are you calling them? Pick 10 a day to call them. Do a friend check-in. Do an annual client review. Reach out to a realtor you haven't spoken with in a while and literally say, hey, Elysia, this is Dustin. How you doing today? Hey, it's been too long since we last chatted. How are things going? Right? Like, it may be that simple for some of you. It's just a matter of getting intentional and then tracking your activities. But I would tell you right now, among anything, be seen, be heard, get out in your marketplace, especially my regional managers, my branch managers, my producing sales managers, hell, even CEOs and SVPs of sales. What events are you attending? Are you going to GrowthCon in Chicago? Are you going out to Mortgage Mastermind in Vegas? Are you attending the MBA? The MBA has one of my favorite conferences coming up this month, actually. It's the National Advocacy Conference. Like, if you're a executive or a regional at a mortgage company, are you attending these events? Because these events hold people who very well are going to need to find a new place of employment over the next 3 or 6 months because of the amount of changes our industry is going through. So I think this advice applies from CEO all the way down to rookie LO right now, amongst any time in the past decade. Be seen, be heard, be present, get involved.
Just a reminder, if you find this content helpful, you're enjoying it, please share it with another loan officer or branch manager, smash up that like button, subscribe to my channel. Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah. It's so fun to talk with you because we're on the same page, like, for so many different things in so many different ways. And that makes me super excited because one of the things is a lot of loan officers, I feel like, and when you're talking all the way up and down the chain, even like CEOs, CFOs, regionals, they aren't seen enough. And now's more important than ever. And I think also it's just kind of like either they didn't think about it, how important it is right now with what's happening in the industry. And then on the LO level, I think sometimes they get stuck because they don't know how to do it or what to do, you know? So I'm going to get out there. And then we talked about earlier, right? If you do those things wrong, networking, virtual networking in person, and you don't do it correctly, then you actually can do more harm than good, right? Because you don't want to get there and then vomit all your loan programs on the first realtor you run into, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things that you should walk into any type of meeting, whether it's online or offline, and think of yourself as a high-level news reporter, an investigative reporter with a smile and a friendly tone. You're there to get to know them. You should do 80% of the listening and 20% of the talking. And your talking should be answering questions and then mirroring what they said to you, basically speaking it back to them in confirmation, and occasionally slide in a point where it ties into, yes, I've experienced that as well. Or yes, I feel you, I empathize, and here's why. If you have a like story where you can share and create a commonality, then you want to look for that. And you're talking to a guy who will never shut up, right? So when I go into these meetings, I have to actively focus on listening and asking questions and asking follow-up questions.
Yeah, I had a great boss one time, actually, in the radio industry, before I even got into mortgages. And it always, and I learned from him, and it always amazed me. He was one of my early mentors. It always amazed me how it appeared, anyway. I think he really is just genuinely curious, how genuinely curious he was, interested in every single person at the meeting. And he was a manager. So, you know, he could have taken that role like I'm the big shot, or he could have sat back. He never, ever did. He was always leaning in, asking questions, a lot of questions. How's your kids? How's your man? How's your health? I mean, just amazing. And
There's something to be said about your childlike curiosity. That's something I encourage all salespeople. If you have it, don't lose it. Do not lose that childlike curiosity. It's going to make you a phenomenal networker and a great salesperson, because you're going to build trust with others much quicker than it takes your counterparts who don't. And if you've lost that childlike curiosity, go find it. Like literally go out and find it, because that is the key. In my experience, that is the key to building trusting relationships with others, is to show a sincere interest in what it is that makes them tick, their life, what's their why, etc.
Yeah, and I think also if you're not interested, or more importantly, if you're not genuine in your communication, people see it coming a mile away. It's just, and then it also, it's not a good thing, because people can make.
It's interesting you say that. So again, for my audience, you're used to me and you're used to this language. For Elysia's audience, you may have to blurt me out here when I say this, but I would be asked by people in my circle, why do you talk to that person, or why do you meet with that person, or even hang out with that person? They're a dick. I go, you know what they are? They're genuine. That's what they are. They're genuine. They don't lie. And I trust them. Like, yes, are they brash? Yes. Are they rough around the edges? I'll take that as long as that's who you are genuinely. What I don't like is someone who tries to mask who they really are or what their intentions are. I'd rather you come out of the gate and over the top and say, hey, these are my intentions. This is my rub. This is what I'm looking to get accomplished. Then you try to sweet talk, backdoor, and just not be you. Advice I give to my now 18-year-old, he just turned 18, as a senior in high school. And at this point, I'm like, man, do you, homie. Like literally do you. And what I mean by that is be you. Don't try to be me. Don't try to be mom. Be you as long as you is a good person. Be you as long as you is a hard worker. But be you and embrace who you are. I think that's what resonates a lot with salespeople, as well as the childlike curiosity.
Yeah, and I think also for salespeople too, I've shared this story before for my audience. And when I first transitioned from radio into mortgages, I mean, we're talking about, I had a lot of fun in radio. And I had this.
What, out of curiosity, what format? Were you like top 40? Were you talk radio? Were you news radio?
So I had done rock and roll and then urban. So I had a lot of fun. Yeah, so I've been backstage with everybody from Aerosmith to Smokey Robinson. So I mean, I had so much fun.
You are rocking out with WJRR, Orlando's best rock and roll. Next up with Love in an Elevator, Aerosmith. Right? Yeah. That was you. You had to put that gravel in your voice.
Well, so my first career was actually on the radio, and then I did sales and marketing for radio. So,
okay.
Yeah, but I did that too. It's fun.
I had an internship. In college, I had like 5 internships. And anytime that I am giving career advice to college students, which I mentor 2 or 3 college students a year through my alma mater, and I literally tell them, intern, intern, intern. I had 5 internships. Like, oh my God, what did those 5 internships teach you? I'm like, they taught me everything I didn't want to do for a living.
Yeah.
That's what they taught me. But I had one working in promotions at a radio station, like the #1 country radio station in Orlando, Florida, which I love country music. I thought I hit the jackpot.
Yeah,
I learned really quickly that if I ever had a career in music, it would need to be more in like A&R and not in promoting a local radio station, because that wasn't my cup of tea. And that's probably why I ended up in sales as well. I ended up selling TV advertising right out of college because I couldn't land a cool enough gig like a DJ on a rock radio station like you did.
I did have a good time.
Yeah.
I did have a good time. But yeah, I think those are just, so many fun stories from back in the day.
You were saying earlier how people do online networking incorrect. I spend 5 minutes on that.
Yeah, please.
I have some really cool tips and tricks that I developed it for a loan officer of mine who's a top producer who we're friends outside of working together. And he is like this when it comes to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Okay, just he doesn't want to get it. I'm too old for that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I was like, man, how do I encourage people to do this and then to do it well? So here's what I started with him. I went through, his name is Eric, and I said, Eric, when you go to a networking event, what do you have to do? And I just want to get the conversation going. And I knew all the answers, so I wasn't going to sit there and do the whole rhetorical game where you make them guess and they keep on guessing wrong. So I was like, cool, let me just kind of walk you through this. When you go to a traditional networking function, whether it's BNI, whether it's Chamber of Commerce, whether it's an MBA function, etc., you have to first get dressed. Actually, first you have to take a shower. Then you have to brush your teeth. Then you either have to shave or put on your makeup. Then you have to get dressed. Then you have to drive somewhere, at which point they may or may not have asked you to spend money. And the place that you're driving to, you didn't get to pick the location, nor did you get to pick the time. And then when you get there, if you just paid your 20 bucks, you drove halfway across town, you showed up wearing your suit, but you sat in the corner with your head down, not making eye contact, you got nothing from it. So let's walk through what it takes to be successful attending these traditional networking functions. So we kind of recapped it. Take a shower, put on my makeup, shave, get dressed, drive across town to a place that I didn't get to pick at a time I didn't get to pick. Now I have to put on a name badge. I have to make eye contact. I have to smile, introduce myself, generate small talk. And I said, if you did that, Eric, how many loans did you get? It's like, none. I said, cool. How many leads did you get? He's like, I don't know. I said, let me answer for you. You got none. So if you're going to go to the traditional networking event, you're there for one reason and one reason only. Actually, two. The first reason is to connect to people that you already know that you haven't seen in a while, so that you can be seen and that they know that you still exist. But the real reason I would go is I'm going there because I want to meet two people that also attended this networking function that I can either on the spot or the day later follow up with to get a one-on-one meeting with. I said, that's how traditional networking works. That's how we teach it. And that's how it's successful. So again, for our traditional networking people, if you're just showing up and you're not dressed, well, you failed. If you just showed up and you're dressed, but you're not making eye contact, you failed. If you showed up, you were dressed, you made eye contact, you smiled and small talked it, but you didn't follow up and achieve two one-on-one meetings, you didn't accomplish the mission at hand. Now let's convert this into online networking. Why I love online networking? I don't have to shower. Let's start there. I don't have to put on my makeup. I don't have to shave. Guess what? I don't have to drive anywhere, and I get to pick where the venue is, whether it's my bathroom, my living room, my patio, the airport, a restaurant, you name it. I get to pick the venue, and I get to pick the time, 6 a.m., midnight, 5 p.m., I get to pick it. So already online networking is outpacing in terms of ease of use, traditional networking. Oh, by the way, no one's going to charge me money, right? I already have the internet, so I'm already paying for that, whether I use online networking or not. But if I'm going to do online networking, I should probably be well-dressed. What does that mean? I need to have a nice profile picture, right? If I'm going to do online networking, I should probably wear my name tag. What does my name tag mean? Contact information, readily available, easy to see. If I'm going to do online networking, I should probably make eye contact. What does eye contact mean? I should probably like and comment on people's posts, right? You know what I should also do? I should also introduce myself to people. How do I introduce myself to people? Maybe I follow them if I'm on Instagram. I connect with them if I'm on LinkedIn. Maybe I friend request them if I'm on Facebook, right? And then I should share something about me with these people that are at this event. The event is being online. What does that mean? I should probably post. But if I post, I don't want to vomit on them. I'm not a used car ad on TV, buy here, pay here, come down this weekend, own this car for $9.99. Like, no, we're not doing that, right? So when I'm posting, I do need to post. I do need to post daily, but I should follow some kind of a cadence where it's like 3 to 1. You have 3 posts that is just me, Dustin Owen, the life of, right? Whether I am swimming at Lucky's Lake because I'm training for the upcoming St. Anthony's triathlon, whether it's me at my wife's birthday party tomorrow night, whether it's me at my son's volleyball game. And then I maybe want to post something about work. But if I'm posting about work, it can't be speaking mortgage talk, right? About work could be me literally taking a picture of myself in the office. And I just said, I had an awesome time connecting with Elysia and being interviewed for her podcast. So fortunate to have other awesome mortgage professionals in my market. All I'm doing is reminding people that I am a mortgage lender, and I want you to reach out to me anytime you have a question about buying a house or financing a house, right? So like for Eric, using Eric's story, I had to start with getting him to understand how we make traditional networking work, and then use those same analogies and cross over to online networking. So with your audience today, I hope that someone listened or watched and they're like, yeah, oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way, because it really is that easy. And then it's like anything else in life, you just got to start doing it. You have to be consistent. You have to consistently get 1% better per day. Rome was not built overnight, which means you can't just do it for 2 weeks and then take 2 months off. You say, no, for the next year, this is what I'm going to do. Like when I launched my podcast, I didn't say, let's do 6 episodes and see where it goes. I legitimately said, we're going to do this for 2 years. Come hell or high water, 2 episodes a week, every single week for the next 2 years. The only thing that would ever stop me, besides the police or my wife or my CEO, would have been me not having fun. If I wasn't having fun, I wasn't going to do it, because I'm at a place in my life and my career. I'm very fortunate. I only do things that are fun or that excite me. And it took a year to get good. It took a second year to figure out who we were, right? 2022 was we just celebrated our 3rd year, right?
Congratulations.
And finally, after 3 years, feel like we know who we are. We know where we're going. We have our proof of concept. We can do a business pro forma. But that applies to everything we do in life, whether it's training for an Ironman, right? Whether it's getting in shape, or whether it's taking our business to the next level.
And I'll post, just to follow up on the social media, online marketing, let's call it. I'll put the link below. I have a free guide for people on what you don't want to do. And then, of course, there's a course that comes with that, too, that outlines step by step how often to post, how you sort things, how you separate it, and make it super easy, too. So
awesome.
Yeah, thanks. So
what else do you have for us today, Elysia? I know we're coming up on the hour, and I do have to hop on another call at noon our time. This is fun, by the way. So thank you for having me on.
My pleasure.
My apologies for, the motor mouth. John Coleman, my co-host and producer, is like, sometimes I'm like the little toy. You wind them up and you let them go.
Oh, it's great. I talk all the time, so I'm happy to have you jump in and join me. So thank you so much for your time. If there was one concept that you would leave everybody with today, what would that be?
Ooh, concept or like words of encouragement?
Either. You pick. I'll make it easy. You pick.
I mean, the best investment you can make is in yourself. Period. End of story. It comes with the best ROI. Right? Investing in yourself could be literally a $19.99 book. If you're looking for a great starter book, you need to go read Atomic Habits by James Clear. Right? It could be subscribing to coaching or buying courses like Elysia has to offer. Right? It could be becoming a member of our website. Shameless plug. Go to tloponline.com. That website is chock full of training videos and resources for loan officers who are looking to take their game to the next level. Right? It could be hiring a coach. It could be legitimately hiring a coach, but the best investment is always going to be into yourself. So that would be the one concept I'd probably want to leave everyone with.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming on today, Dustin. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. And I look forward to having you on my show next time you're in Orlando. How does that sound?
That sounds great. I'll be there in a couple of weeks, so I'll text you.
Cool. Yep. Text me, give me the dates. I'll look at my calendar. We'll make it happen.
That'd be great. Thanks, Dustin. Take care.
Thank you, Elysia. Bye-bye.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Just a reminder, if you find this content helpful, you're enjoying it, please share it with another loan officer or branch manager. Smash up that like button. subscribe to my channel.